Welcome to the deep dive. We take the sources you send us, the ones you're curious about, and we pull out the key ideas. Basically get you informed without you having to wade through everything.
Exactly. And today we're looking at a YouTube video. It analyzes the relationship and divorce of Jesse Williams and Aaron Drake Lee, focusing specifically on power dynamics.
Right. So a listener pointed us to this video. Jesse Williams' worst nightmare has come true. That's the title. It's from a channel called The Celebrity Junk.
Yeah, and just to be clear up front, our aim here isn't to, weigh in on their personal lives. It's really about understanding the arguments the video puts forward about relationships.
Especially relationships where there might be disparities, like in money or maybe perceived attractiveness.
And what the video claims can happen when those things change, when the balance shifts significantly. We're just exploring the perspective presented in the source.
Got it. Okay, so where does the video start?
Well, it kind of kicks off with a look back, referencing an old Mac Dre song, All on the B.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How does that fit in?
The video host interprets that song as, glorifying a situation where the woman pays for everything, sort of framing it as a flex for the guy back then.
Huh. Interesting starting point.
But then it pivots pretty quickly. While it acknowledges that dynamic might exist, the video's main point seems to be about the potential downsides.
Okay, like what?
The argument is, if a man is mainly being supported financially by a woman, maybe he's not actually genuinely attracted to her, and that this imbalance could cause problems down the line.
Ah, okay. Setting up a potential conflict. And this is where Jesse Williams and Aaron Drake Lee come in as the main example.
Exactly. The video portrays Drake Lee as, highly accomplished, Columbia graduate, successful real estate broker, also a teacher.
So objectively successful.
Right. But then the video host adds their own assessment, sort of suggesting that before Williams got famous, maybe Drake Lee wasn't perceived as being on his level looks-wise. That's the video's take anyway.
Okay, subjective point made there. And then what about the relationship dynamic itself, according to the video?
Well, the video makes a pretty bold claim. It suggests that early on, Williams was in what it calls a booty clapping it up situation.
Okay. What does that mean in this context?
The implication is pretty clear. That Drake Lee was likely paying most of the bills, that her financial support was, a really central part of things back then.
Right. So the video establishes that as the baseline. Then the turning point is his big break.
Yeah. Grey's Anatomy, the fame, the money that came with it. The video presents this as fundamentally changing things.
And the argument is that this newfound success and independence made Williams want out of the relationship.
That's the core argument presented, yes. That the shift in his status, his financial power, his public profile led him to want to leave.
It does raise that question of how big life changes for one person can impact a relationship, doesn't it? Especially if the initial dynamic felt uneven.
Definitely. The video leans heavily into the idea that Williams' changed circumstances altered what he wanted from the partnership.
So how does the video portray Drake Lee's reaction to the breakup?
It's framed primarily as anger, a sense of betrayal. The narrative is that because she supposedly supported him when he had less, she felt wronged when he wanted to leave after becoming successful.
Like an investment that didn't pay off the way she expected.
Something like that. The video suggests a feeling of entitlement almost, stemming from that early support.
Okay. And the video connects this to a broader pattern.
Yeah, it suggests that breakups in these kinds of situations where maybe there was an initial imbalance and then the underdog partner gains power often descend into what the video literally calls an enemy season.
Enemy season. Wow. That's vivid.
It is. And the video uses the post-divorce conflict between Williams and Drake Lee as Exhibit A for this enemy season.
How so? What specifics does it mention?
Well, it highlights allegations reported in the media that Drake Lee was gatekeeping the children, making access difficult for Williams.
Okay.
And it zooms in on one particular incident, orthodontic treatment for their kids, Sadie and Masio.
What happened there, according to the source?
The video claims Drake Lee initially refused to agree to the treatment. It even says she threatened to sue Williams if he went ahead with it without her consent.
And the video presents this as deliberate obstruction.
Entirely. It's framed as her trying to make things difficult, using the children's needs as leverage, basically, as retaliation for the breakup.
Did the treatment eventually happen?
According to the video, yes. It says the court had to step in, allowed the treatment, and actually barred Drake Lee from interfering further with that specific medical decision.
Okay.
And the video adds that Williams has apparently alleged ongoing interference with his parenting time in other ways, too.
So the video's conclusion on their situation is pretty stark then.
Extremely. It basically says Drake Lee is trying to make Williams's life a living hell, and it directly links this alleged behavior back to those booty-clapping conditions, as the video calls them, from the start of their relationship.
Wow. Okay. So from that specific example, the video then tries to offer, like, general advice.
Yeah, it pivots to broader advice, specifically aimed at men. The host of the Celebrity Junk is quite direct about it.
What's the advice?
Essentially, don't let women pay for you, don't let them financially support you, or, quote, build you up. The argument is that this creates a flawed dynamic right from the start.
And why does the video claim this is so problematic?
There are a couple of reasons given. First, the video suggests it's difficult to have a respectful relationship if the woman earns significantly more. It even argues the woman might not respect her partner in that scenario.
Okay, that's one angle.
The second angle is about the potential fallout. The video predicts that if a man in that situation later wants to leave, for whatever reason, the woman's reaction is likely to be extremely negative, basically leading to that enemy season.
Does it offer any other examples besides the Williams case?
It does. There's an anecdote shared about a man from Antioch and a woman from Oakland.
Okay, what was their story, according to the video?
Well, initially, she was earning more. He was still in school, working towards becoming a firefighter. So, similar setup, financially speaking.
Right. And what happened?
The video says she actually left him for an older guy who was apparently less successful.
Oh, okay. So a different outcome there initially.
But the story continues. The first guy, the one studying to be a firefighter, he eventually achieves his goal, becomes successful, gets remarried, seems happy.
Right.
And then the video claims the ex-wife, who was apparently struggling herself at that point, reacted very negatively to his success. The video alleges she tried to, quote, make life harder for him.
Ah, so the video connects that back to the original dynamic.
Exactly. It's presented as another example of that supposed pattern. Relationship starts with the woman having more financial power, man benefits, relationship ends, man later becomes successful, and the woman reacts with hostility or resentment.
It's using that anecdote to bolster the warning about those initial imbalances, even if the breakup reason was different.
Precisely. It reinforces the video's main warning against men entering relationships where they are financially dependent.
So what's the final takeaway message from the Celebrity Junk video?
It boils down to this. Men should have their own resources, be financially independent. Don't, as the video puts it, use a woman as a come-up or a stepping stone. The argument is that those kinds of relationships are inherently unstable and likely to end badly.
Okay. So just to wrap up our deep dive here, we've looked at this YouTube video from the Celebrity Junk, which analyzes the Jesse Williams-Aaron Drake Lee divorce.
Right. And the video argues that power imbalances, especially financial ones where the woman initially supports the man, or where there are perceived differences in attractiveness, well, that these can create major problems.
Particularly if the man's circumstances improve later and he wants to leave. The video suggests this often leads to resentment, conflict, this enemy season idea.
And it uses their situation, plus that anecdote, to warn men against entering such dynamics, advising financial independence from the start.
And again, we've just been exploring the perspective presented in this specific video. It's one interpretation of these complex dynamics.
Absolutely. Just laying out the arguments from the source material for you.
Which leads us to a final thought for you, the listener. Thinking about everything discussed here, sourced from this video, what are the potential long-term impacts of power imbalances in relationships? And it doesn't just have to be financial, right?
Yeah.
Any kind of imbalance.
Yeah, and maybe consider how different views on things like support or even attraction might fuel conflict or resentment when things change between partners. Something to mull over based on what we've unpacked today.
Yeah, definitely food for thought. We hope this deep dive was insightful, and we'll catch you on the next one.